Welcome to the Word for Life podcast, a daily devotional covering the entire Bible from Genesis to Revelation.
In Joshua chapter 10, 11 and 12, we read about the defeat of the kings of Canaan. You see, when Rahab heard what the Lord had done to Israel, she trusted the Lord and wanted to be saved from Jericho. But here in these chapters, the kings of Canaan hear what the Lord did through Joshua, but they rebel against the Lord. In chapter 10, verse 1 to 5, we read about Adonizedek, the king of Jerusalem. When he heard that Joshua had taken Ai and totally destroyed it, doing to Ai and its king as he had done to Jericho and its king, and that the people of Gibeon had made a treaty of peace with Israel and had become their allies, he was alarmed. And verse 3 says, he appealed to many other kings and created a coalition to make war with Israel. Friends, there are two ways people respond when they hear or see God's work. They either fear the Lord or fight the Lord. When Jesus our Lord revived Lazarus and brought him out from the grave, the Jewish leaders who saw this went out to plot the death of Jesus. Also, when they saw Jesus casting out demons, the Jewish leaders only called him the Prince of Demons. It is often a strange problem, but so often people find it so hard to drop their egos and put their faith in the Lord and follow Him. Now here in Joshua chapter 10, the Canaanite kings fight against the Lord and are thoroughly defeated. In Joshua 10 verse 10 we read, "The Lord threw them into confusion before Israel, so Joshua and the Israelites defeated them." In verse 11 we read, "As they fled before Israel on the road down from Beth-horon to Azek, the Lord hurled large hailstones down on them, and more of them died from the hail than were killed by the swords of the Israelites." In chapter 10 verse 13 and 14, we also read that the Lord heard the prayer of Joshua, and the sun stopped in the middle of the sky and delayed going down about a full day. Verse 14 says, "There has never been a day like it before or since, a day when the Lord listened to a human being. Surely the Lord was fighting for Israel." Friends, probably these Canaanite kings trusted their gods so much that they thought the God of Israel can be easily challenged. Or probably they trusted in their huge armies, and that is why it was difficult for them to drop their egos and fear and follow the Lord. In the next chapter, in chapter 11, verse 4 to 5, we read about other kings as well. They too heard of the total defeat of the other Canaanite kings, yet they also did not surrender, but only came against Joshua. Verse 4 and 5 reads, "They came out with all their troops and a large number of horses and chariots, a huge army as numerous as the sand on the seashore. All these kings joined forces and made camp together at the waters of Merom to fight against Israel." You see, friends, egos can become such a huge barrier. They can stop us from accepting the Lord. That is why in Deuteronomy chapter 17, verse 16 and 17, the Lord commanded the kings of Israel that they must not acquire great numbers of horses for themselves, or take many wives, or accumulate large amounts of silver and gold, because the Lord knew that all these things will lead the kings of Israel astray. In Joshua chapter 11 verse 20, we also read that when these kings did not humble themselves or surrender, the Lord judged them by hardening their hearts. Verse 20 reads, "For it was the Lord himself who hardened their hearts to wage war against Israel, so that he might destroy them totally." Friends, when people harden their hearts and disobey the Lord judges them by hardening their hearts too. The Lord keeps them in disobedience, which is what they did in the first place. So this was the story of the kings of Canaan. They rebelled against God and paid the price. The next chapter, chapter 12, gives a list of the names of these powerful kings of Canaan. At one time, they had been the unstoppable, unchallengeable heroes of their lands. For centuries, they had ruled the land. Now, they resemble more like Pharaoh and not like those who acknowledge the Lord. God promised Abraham centuries ago that he will give the land when the sins of the people of Canaan have become full. Now we see how one of their sins was not acknowledging the Lord with a humble heart.
Thanks for listening. We'll see you tomorrow for the next episode of the Word for Life podcast.